welcome to the show. This week I'll be chatting to football legend Paul Merson and star of Countdown, Susie Dent. But before that, the news. Over at COP26, the deal didn't exactly go as planned.
It's a done deal. A new global climate agreement has been reached and declared both a success and a failure.
The final text was watered down with last-minute changes to the wording on coal after pressure from two of the world's biggest polluters, China and India.
Coal is to be phased down rather than phased out.
Our profound disappointment.
Right at the death, China and India changed the text from phase out coal to phase down. And yet, Boris claimed it didn't matter.
Whether the language is phase down or phase out doesn't seem to me, as a speaker of English, to make that much difference.
Out and down mean completely different things. If you tell someone to put the dog out, and they put the dog down, there's going to be a chat. It's nuts. It was so disappointing. Mind you, if you think the deal was brutal, so was some of the journalism. Did you see what happened to this little girl?
How old are you, Sophie?
10.
And why did you think it was important to be here? Oh, I think we're moving on to Greta. I think Greta Thunberg is starting on the stage, so we'll go to her.
How harsh is that? What do you think, Sophie? Oh, news just in, no one cares. It's been a bad week for the Tories. It wasn't just the climate deal. They are dripping in sleaze.
The Prime Minister is accused of corruption and trashing democracy as MPs debate parliamentary standards.
There have been calls for more resignations, for apologies and for public inquiries.
For lobbying.
Second jobs.
Seats in the House of Lords.
COVID contracts.
Breaking the rules.
Sleaze.
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 Sleaze. Fleas.
Sleaze, 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 sleaze.
It's unbelievable. One of the worst was Geoffrey Cox. He's the MP for Tory and West Devon, and yet, look where he was during lockdown.
But Sir Geoffrey Cox spent a chunk of the year working in the British Virgin Islands.
He was in the Caribbean. Fuck you, West Devon! It's happy hour down the Calypso Club! Ba, 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 ba. Now, predictably, some of his constituents were less than impressed.
How can he be representing people here in West Devon if he's spending a month in the Virgin Islands?
This guy, a little bit more peeved.
You're a bunch of cunts. No wonder he's angry. Have you seen how much money Cox has earned on the side?
Turns out he's earned almost $6 million since becoming an MP through second jobs.
And yet, this is the same guy who tried to charge the taxpayer £2 for a box of tea bags. That's right, he's physically and metaphorically teabagging the nation. And what's worse, there was an emergency debate on sleaze in Parliament. Look how many Tories went.
Only 46 out of 360 Tory MPs bothered to turn up to debate it.
It was a debate about MPs doing their job, and they didn't even go. No one else could do that. Why didn't you come in for your job review? Oh, I've written it down here. I couldn't be fucked. I wish I'd known about this as a kid. Mum, I'm not going to parents' evening. They're going to make me look like a dick. You got to go, you got to learn that. Even Boris Johnson missed the debate because he was doing what he does best. Going to a hospital and not wearing a mask. And yet, despite all this, the Tories are still ahead of Labour in the polls. Boris Johnson is Teflon, nothing sticks. He gets away with anything. I'm not mucking around. He could give Ed Sheeran a wedgie, punch Mary Berry in the tits, and people would still go, he's all right, though, isn't he? Isn't he? He could be caught in a nursery doing Jaeger bombs dressed as Jimmy Savile, and people would still be like,
I just prefer him to Keir Starmer.
Maybe Labour need to sex the leader up, make him look more dynamic. Trouble is, it's bloody difficult.
This is a party political broadcast on behalf of the Labour Party. Are you looking for a new Prime Minister? Keir Starmer might be the man for you. He's unforgettable.
Keir Starmer? Have you ever heard of him? No.
He's dangerous. He's got the motivational skills of a football manager.
First game after this break, that's the one in 2 or 3 weeks.
He's got celebrity mates.
When I was at school, I had music lessons with Fatboy Slim.
Everybody loves him.
You have failed this country.
He's the human equivalent of ketamine.
I've been dubbed Special K since I was born.
Keir Starmer, come on, get into this K-hole.
So, what else is going on? Well, did you hear about Pantos?
As Christmas approaches and Panto season gets underway, one theatre has decided to pre-warn audiences that they could be in for triggering scenes.
Pantos are getting trigger warnings. I can't wait to see them do that. Just, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be triggered. Oh, no, we won't. I think I know why they're warning audiences. Look what their production of Rapunzel contains.
Their pantomime contains kidnapping, homophobia, sexism, drugs and alcohol abuse.
Who's directing that? Quentin Tarantino? Let down your hair, motherfucker! Ah! What next? Snow White having a gangbang with the dwarves? What are you doing, Goldilocks? I'm shitting in the bear's porridge. What I do? Predictably, the Sun got involved. Woke theatre group warns audiences its Rapunzel panto contains kidnap. They're changing our pantomimes. They're not. Pantos will never change. It will always be utter wank. Where's my career? Behind you. That's the truth, man. But the Sun are always doing this, winding people up about stories we just don't care about. I mean, they're even trying to make us angry about board games. Fury, as woke Scrabble bosses look to ban words such as farting, boobies and arse. Nobody is furious about that. You're right, Dave? No, I'm not. They've only fucking messed with Scrabble. Even if people cared, which they don't, how are they going to police this? They're not going to break into people's houses. Freeze! Do you put clit on a triple letter? People will always swear when they play Scrabble. In fact, we'll use any word to win. If the Queen was playing Prince Andrew and the word once was on the board and she had 7 N's...
I'm sorry, Andy.
Swearing doesn't offend British people. It makes us laugh. I mean, who isn't cheered up by this granny's reaction to a gender reveal?
Boy or girl?
Fucking girl.
Elsewhere, anti-vaxxers in New Zealand are kicking off in the most Kiwi way ever.
Protesters tearing through the barricades on the front steps, raising fears reminiscent of the US Capitol riots. But then, because it's not the States, it's New Zealand, they politely put them back up again.
So lovely.
Fuck the man! You know, unless the man doesn't want to be fucked, in which case... Sorry about that, mate.
It's what New Zealand's like. A gentle, wonderful land where stuff like this makes the news.
Well, a Waikato couple is pleased to announce the arrival of a potato as big as a very large baby.
The 7.9 kilo super spud weighs the same as a Christmas ham or an average-sized dog.
I love it.
It's the same as an average-sized dog, 9 guinea pigs or 1,000 lizards.
Do you want to see it? Yes! You know you do. Look at that. It looks like a thinking otter. The whole report is fantastic. Look what the owner said when he first saw it.
I got the fork and jabbed into it and hoiked it out of the ground and holy snapping turtle teeth. What's going on here?
Holy snapping turtle teeth, it looks like a Wookiee shit, mate.
This is my favourite bit. What's he going to do next with this mega spud? Cook it? Donate it to science? Oh, no.
Poor fella, he doesn't have arms and legs and that sort of thing. So I made him a little trolley so he can take him out and give him a bit of sunshine now and then, you know.
That's right. He made a potato pram. Just think about that. When you think the world's lost, there's no good anymore, know this. Somewhere out there, there's a man taking his potato for a stroll. There is good in this world. Join me after the break when I'll be chatting to the fantastic Paul Merson!
I remember scoring in the game and I was running back, and as we was jogging back, I was seeing like £50 notes floating down the thing, and I was thinking, they're fucking mine, aren't they?
Welcome back to the show. My first guest tonight is a former footballer who is achieving as much off the pitch as he did on it. Paul Merson is a former England footballer and mental health advocate. He had a wildly successful football career which saw him win the league and FA Cup.
Merson, yes! Arsenal have scored!
Despite battling alcoholism and drug use.
Drink, drugs and gambling. And all of football is hoping he'll come out on top.
He's now a regular on Sky Sports, where his passionate punditry has made him a fan favourite. Recently, he's opened up about his gambling addiction in a critically lauded BBC documentary, and now he goes even further in his revealing new book, Hooked. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Paul Merson! Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. I watched your documentary the other day, which is incredible. And the first thing I wanted to ask is, how are you? Because if I could have hugged you through the screen, I would have done it. It's such an important thing to have done. And the overall feeling you take away from it is, fuck, I hope he's all right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, how are you?
No, today good. Yeah, it's a day at a time. It's literally a day at a time. Today's good. You know, I don't know tomorrow. Hopefully, if I keep on doing what I do today, and I'll be all right again tomorrow. But I literally keep it in the day now. I try my hardest to do that.
Yeah, because the documentary, in case anyone hasn't seen it, it's on the BBC, it's on the iPlayer now, and it's all about it's about gambling and your life dealing with it, isn't it?
Yeah, and what it does to the brain and how the brain works, because it's not like drug and alcohol where you have to put something in your body to become drunk or high. This is already in your brain, and it just takes triggers along the way, whatever it may be, and that will, with the compulsion, can take over. I mean, the psychologist said on there, it's a miracle you don't gamble. So every night I get to bed and I put my head on the pillow, it is a miracle. And that's the way I look at it, and that's the way I treat it.
I'm sort of curious, what are the coping mechanisms if it's that kind of another day at a time, another?
It's literally talking to people, and accepting now. I learnt so much about myself about the documentary, how it works, because you know I heard so many times when I gambled, you'd hear people go, "Oh, it's a mugs game," and it used to drive me up the wall because I didn't want to gamble. Sometimes I didn't want to gamble. I've been in a hotel room when I was playing for Aston Villa at Charlton away for a night game, and I literally wanted to break my fingers. So I couldn't physically pick the phone up to have a bet. So they're the kind of cravings you get. And it's like, but if I turn round to someone and I went out last night at 20 pints, I didn't come home. I went on one. they laugh. Oh, that's funny. Oh, I bet that was a laugh. And that's the thing. People just think it's willpower. Just show a bit of man up. Just show a bit about yourself and be stronger. It doesn't work like that.
What I found fascinating in the documentary is that they mentioned that you have a type of personality, almost a thrill seeker. You could kind of see it, that there's a psychologist or a scientist. She's sort of saying even the way you used to play football, if anyone knows the way Paul used to play, you used to try and play, you know, Hollywood passes and worldies and back heels, and you were very good at it. But they sort of linked that type of personality to being more vulnerable to gambling. That's kind of fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. You know, I did play that way. I played like, you know, I gambled till I got to zero. You know, I never ever won and thought, oh, well, I'll take this. It wasn't about the money. It was about the thrill. And that's the thing. When you're playing in front of 40,000 people every week at a Highbury or a Villa Park or wherever it may be, and the fans are cheering your name and you score a goal, which is the biggest buzz in the world. So, for me, it's like when I come in the dressing room after, it was like, what do I do now? What do I do? And that was the problem. You know, a lot of the players, 99% of the players would go home, have a happy married life, and I couldn't. I needed to be up here or down here. It was constant.
And you were a great footballer. So
I was good.
Mate, you were
good. I was
great.
Footballer, Greats Maradona and Messi and Ronaldo.
Listen, I'm viewing it through my eyes.
Yeah, right.
And
yeah, but that don't say me
we should chat as well. You've now written a book. It's called Hooked.
Yeah.
And I was sort of curious. What is that like? Is it cathartic to get that out? It must be presumably quite painful to kind of relive those memories.
It was as it goes. It was in the end because I've wrote books before and I've wrote the jokey books like funny stories about my career and you know I wrote a book called Rock Bottom in 1994 and that's probably about 5th on my list of rock bottoms since then. Right. You know, it's been that bad. So for me, it was hard, you know, and...
Well, this is what I was thinking, like, there was a stat in your documentary that a gambling ad is aimed at the consumer every 7 seconds. It's mind-blowing. There's no, you know, we don't have smoking adverts, we don't have kind of booze adverts to that propensity. How is that able to happen? And do you have kind of, like... That must frustrate you.
It does now. Now I know about it in when I done the actual programme and...
Yeah.
The adverts, you know, for me, they banned smoking adverts. You can't smoke yourself to death in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You can gamble yourself away in 20 minutes. You can lose everything in 20 minutes, and that's not an exaggeration.
No.
I mean, the thing is, with our phones now, we have a walk-in casino in our pocket. You know, I'm fortunate I have a thing called Game Ban where it blocks absolutely everything. So if I ever put any gambling thing into my phone, it would block it. So it's the best £26 I've ever spent in my life every year. But yeah, you know what? I'm not here to change the world. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's the compulsive people. If I could gamble properly, I'd gamble properly. If I could drink properly, I'd drink properly.
Yeah,
of course I would. You know, there's millions of people that can, but there's a lot of people that are not well, and that's what it is. It's an illness. This is an illness, and it's good people. It's not. You know, I used to spend all my life for the last 36 thinking I was a bad person trying to become a good person. I wasn't. I was an ill person who needs to get well.
Yeah, exactly. But like you say, you are ill and you need access to whatever your medicine... What is your medicine? Is it counselling? Is it Gamblers Anonymous?
I go to GA, Gamblers Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous. I talk to people in the meetings. I read my books. You know, I know it's a cliche, but I'm an ill person. I need to get medicine, and that's my medicine. I need help. I can't do it without that. It's impossible. I've been into treatment centres, but I was sent into treatment centres. I didn't want to personally go myself. I was made to go to keep everybody else happy. And when that happens, you're not going to... But it is a day at a time. You know, if someone said to me now, you can never take another drink or have another bet for the rest of your life, I couldn't do it. I honestly sit here now and I wouldn't be able to do it. But when I get up in the morning, I say I will not have a bet or a drink or a drug today, that's doable. It's so doable.
Yeah, brick at a time, eh?
I think, I personally aren't sitting up here like as a preacher, but everybody only gets today. So, you know, for me now, it's being happy and spending time with my wife, my kids, and being grateful for like normal things instead of trying to chase, you know, stuff that's never going to happen, like a yacht and 8-bedroom house with 7 toilets. You know, I've only got 1 bum, so you know what I mean.
The funny thing with something this sad and this heavy and this deep is that within it there's still humour, because even in the documentary, that moment where you'd won 30 grand and you gave it to Harry Redknapp to look after.
Yeah, Millwall way.
Yeah. So and you thought he was going to put it in a safe, didn't you?
No, we got to Millwall way playing for Portsmouth, and we were getting changed. You usually say, "What's happening with the dressing room? Are they locking the dressing room?" And they usually say, "We're locking it," and it's safe. And I said, "Well, that's not good enough." He said, "Well, what's the matter? What do you want me to hold your watch or something?" And I said, "I had a brown paper bag. I'd won 30 grand." And I said, "Will you look after that?" And he opened it and he went, well, I won't say what he said, but he used to wear these baggy tracksuit bottoms, and he started stuffing the money down his tracksuit bottoms, and that was the best game I ever had in my whole life. If someone said to what was the ultimate game you ever played, I mean, I remember scoring in the game, and I was running back, and as we was jogging back, I was seeing like £50 notes floating down the thing, and I was thinking, they're fucking mine, aren't they? When he gave me my money back, it was like £300 short, but it was the best game I ever had. And I remember going afterwards, and I was getting in my car, and about a 70-odd-year-old man come up to me, and he went, "I've been coming down to Millwall since I was 6 years of age, and I've never seen anybody get a standing ovation." And I mean, that was probably the highlight of my career. Like, to go to Millwall and they clap you off. I mean, it's unheard of.
Yeah,
I mean, it's unheard of. And yeah, I mean, and having 29,700 quid ops as well. I mean, that didn't last long.
Yeah. Do you find yourself, when you're watching football now, sort of imagining how you would fit in? Do you think you'd be a Premier League player?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. Oh, yeah.
But I love the fact, earlier on...
You just told me I was great.
Yeah, well, this is it. But earlier on, you're like, no, I want the great.
Would I be able to live that disciplined life? I'm not sure. I played in a good era where we could do what we wanted. There wasn't phone cameras and things like that. You know, you've got to remember all that kind of stuff. With my addiction, I don't know. People go, "Oh, what about if you started over again?" I couldn't take that chance. You've got to be very fortunate to be a footballer. For winning everything in the game by the European Cup, if it happened again, you just don't know.
Yes.
It's so hard to be a professional footballer. It's such a hard thing to do. So
they're under an enormous amount of pressure as well, because, but particularly like you say, with social media.
Yeah, I think, I wouldn't say that if I'm being honest, Russell. I mean, they're getting 1.5 a week. I mean, you know, pressure. I'm not being horrible. Pressure's when you're losing your job and you got to put. I'm not exaggerating. You got to put food on the thing. You know, social media, this and that. We have choices. You know, I have a choice today that I don't gamble and I don't drink. If I do, my life becomes unmanageable.
Yeah.
You don't have to read social media.
True.
You know, I think you have a choice, and if you want to read it, you know, I come off it, you know, because of certain stuff on it, and that was my choice at the moment. When I get stronger, I might go back on it again. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, these players, they have the best job in the world. It's the ultimate job. They're earning absolute fortunes. You know, I love to go round and talk to these clubs. If any of these lads ever have to do another day's work in their life, it's a shame. It's a shame, you know, for the money they're pulling in. And fair play to them. You know, people go to me, "Oh, how's he earning 200 grand a week?" Yeah, Tom Cruise owns £40 million of film. He's never fucking won an Oscar. So,
yeah. Absolutely. Totally. You must get this thrown at you 1,000,000 times. It's unbelievably brave what you're doing, because there will be people watching this and you'll be helping them.
If it's helping someone else, it helps me.
Well, there's no doubt whatsoever that it does. Amazing. I could talk to you all day. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up to fantastic Mr. Paul Merson. Absolutely great. Time now for Playground Politics. And this week, I chat to the kids about conspiracy theories. Do you know what a conspiracy theory is?
Like, imagine if, like, the whole world is, like, just a computer simulation, like that kind
Exactly, yeah. Apparently, the pyramids were built by...
aliens. Yeah, I've heard that theory before.
Dinosaurs.
Wait, what? That's a lie.
Some people think that the world is secretly run by lizard people.
What?
What if I were to tell you that I was a lizard?
That's definitely not true.
It could be disguised.
Okay. What if planes are actually secretly UFOs in disguise?
What, planes?
No, it's not a UFO.
Yeah, because...
They are UFO
literally...
stands for unidentified flying object, so it isn't a UFO.
Yeah, because we've identified...
it's identified?
Yeah, it's identified. It's Ryanair. It's EasyJet.
Yeah, but what if they secretly make it into a plane? Because we don't know. Aliens could have high technology that we don't know about.
By this token, EasyJet stewards are aliens.
Yes.
That is a huge clue.
Yes.
I mean, they're very orange.
Yeah. Wait. I think I know how you can detect when a plane is being, like, drove by aliens, like, if his theory is true.
I'm listening.
Like, I'll just show you with my hands because it's hard to explain.
Fine.
So, like...
Yep.
Ah,
Now, here's an interesting conspiracy theory I heard the other day, that some people want to be injected with young person's blood into their body so they stay young forever. Are there any conspiracy theories that you think are true?
I went trying to go sledging and I saw like a huge human's foot.
Really?
Just pathing up into the woods, and I was just like following it, and then I saw a huge snowy white head.
Yeah.
Then I saw a bear just right there.
Jesus, this is...
And then it just ran away somehow.
So that's handy. And do you just carried on sledging?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just get on your day, innit?
I just want to talk about something.
OK.
My taste buds, for some reason, just change every, like, 2 months. And I don't know why.
What are you going...
Rather than each year, which is the normal amount.
Yeah.
It's literally pretty much every 2 months.
So what's happening? So what are you into at the minute?
I'm not really into that much of pepperoni anymore.
You've had it?
Like, pepperoni used to be one of my most favourite foods, especially on pizza. But now I don't really like it.
That was a really sad look you gave there. Now, we all know COVID is brutal for performers, which is why we have the Spotlight. It's an opportunity to showcase up-and-coming artists. This week, it is the fantastic comedian Harriet Dyer!
Harriet Dyer, that's my name. And I know it's been a tempestuous time lately, so I don't want to come across as bragging, but I was lucky enough recently to actually be able to purchase my own bicycle, right? And, I got it on eBay, what a deal. And the guy gave me for no extra money, a free seat behind my seat, which I was so pleased about, because I thought, you don't know who you're going to meet, do you? I was chuffed. And I'm from Cornwall, that's why I sound like this, but I live near Manchester, and the bicycle was in Bolton. So I went to get the bicycle, trains were down, had to get a rail replacement bus, got my bicycle, and then I was like, fuck a duck on a pedalo. How am I going to get my bicycle back home, because you can't take a bicycle on a bus? What a mistake to make. And I was like, I haven't ridden a bicycle since I was a young warthog, so I thought I'm going to have to use Google Maps, you see. So what I did was I thought I'll just, like, trundle and then look trundle. That's what I thought. Everybody trundle. just thought of that. So I was trundling along Google Maps on my bicycle, and what I didn't know was that if you're using a bicycle on Google Maps, you need to have it on pedestrian setting and not car setting. I thought wheels were wheels, you see. And I realised it was an issue as I was entering the motorway. Awful business, and it happened so quick, and I went down the slip road, and then suddenly I was just trundling along the M61. And I was like, bring, bring! awful. And the traffic po-po were notified, and they seen that I was having a mare, which I found out last week, short for nightmare. I always thought it was to do with a horse. I always thought, why is this horse always having such a difficult time? Anyway, police seen I was having a horse, and they came and rescued me, and I thought that'd be it, because I was clearly a damsel in distress. And but the policeman was shouting at me, quite awfully actually, shouting at me. I thought, I've got to diffuse the situation, so I said, but I'm blind. Is there not a guide dog in the seat behind me? There was when I set off. Something else I was doing, why not? Stretch it out. Something else I was doing recently is reminiscing. Fan of the reminiscence times, you see. And I was reminiscing, about something. Do you remember this? The bill. Yes, oh, you're like, finally. Someone's doing stuff about the bill. Oh, boy, blooming loved it, right? And I was listening to the theme tune, right? Setting myself back to the days of the bill. And listening to the theme tune, and there was a bit in it that took me by surprise. By surprise! So I was listening to it, and I want you to see if you can spot which bit took me by surprise. I haven't edited it, I haven't edited it, or anything like that. I'm a hologram, and I'm malfunctioning. Anyway, sorry. Imagine being in my head for 2 minutes. It's very stressful. Really is. Anyway, the bill. So have a listen, see if you can spot which bit took me by. The song. Could you spot which bit it was? Thanks so much for laughing. There's nothing sadder when no one laughs at that bit. Oh, it's harrowing. Because when you break it down, it's just a lady that clearly has mental health problems that's heard a song and thought, that sounds wiggly. Anyway, thank you so much. All the best in your endeavours. I'm Harriet Dyer. Cheers. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, please get up for Harriet Dyer! See you after the break. Want to be chatting to the Nation's Dictionary, Suzy Dent.
I went to a convent, Russ, so...
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So looking at read words was about as fun as it got for a little while. But they were quite innocent ones. So I remember looking up, this is how old I am, fart, for example, and it was described as a minor explosion between the legs.
Welcome back to the show. My final guest tonight is undoubtedly one of the smartest people on TV. Suzy Dent is a lexicographer, author and TV personality. She first appeared on our screens on Countdown in 1992.
Well, we sort of meanders as well, which is 8.
And has remained in Dictionary Corner for almost 30 years, where she's been joined by a host of comedians on 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown.
Only time I could ever remember Rachel being a little bit miffed is because we swap bras sometimes, and I think...
Am I asleep right now?
God, even I'm getting a semi.
She's written 13 books and now brings us her newest work, Word Perfect. Please welcome Suzy Dent! thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I wasn't expecting that.
But it was... Well, that's what's extraordinary. It feels like you forget... It almost feels like you're the nation's English teacher. But you've quietly been in the corner just informing us about language for years.
It's the best gig in the world because I don't often have to look at the camera. I just sit there with now with a laptop, which a lot of people disagree with, and just find words. I mean, honestly, I'm just in my element.
Have you ever found yourself when you're sat next to somebody in the dictionary corner where you... Because a lot of them are very excited to be near you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like Danny Dyer, big fan of yours. Did you know that?
Danny was so funny.
But you were his crush, did you know that?
His weird crush. Yeah. I never get... I work with Rachel Riley, so Rachel gets all the proper crushes, understandably. I get the weird crushes. So I've just learned to live with that. I understand it totally. And Danny, yes, I mean, Danny, the first time he came on Cats Down, as we call it, as you know, Russell, I was writing out the letters, as I always do. So 9 letters come up, I would write them down. He tried to pronounce the whole thing, thinking that was the word I was giving it. Only Danny could do that. Yeah. But he loved it. He genuinely loved the show.
Yeah.
And yes, then I was his weird crush.
That's all right. But you've also got a book out at the minute, haven't you?
Yes.
And it's called Word Perfect. It's all about kind of your favourite words and phrases, and it's kind of one for every day of the year, isn't it?
Yes. I'm just a bit of a linguistic magpie, so it was a chance for me to open up all the books that I have been, you know, jotting things down in for years and years and years, and just to say, here, I can tell you about, I don't know, stealing someone's thunder, which goes back to the nicking of a thunder-making machine by one theatre production company from another in the 18th century.
Wow.
I know, stuff like that. It was brilliant. I could just share it by finding the exact day that happened.
See, I love that. Like, as a stand-up, I always find, like, when phrases come about and your brain's like, how... Like, did anyone ever say boo to a goose?
Very good point. I don't know the answer to that one.
Oh, wow.
I really don't know the answer to that one. But some of the ones where you think they must just be an expression that never has any literal truth at all, sometimes they do. So, like, my favourite, which always gives me goosebumps, is licking something into shape, which goes back to really old belief that bear cubs are born as formless blobs and are licked into shape by their mums. I just think that's so beautiful.
But that feels like a John Lewis hat, doesn't it? Like...
That's a good idea. Maybe I should sell it.
Here's one, as an expert. This is quite, you know, this is quite blue book. But where's the phrase, to tear a new arsehole come from? Because we know it from the context of a row, don't we? Do you know what I mean? Oh, I'll tell you what, she tore me a new arsehole. But I've never had a row and gone, yeah.
That's exactly the kind of question that Jimmy Carr would ask me, you know, on the show. When there's been an hour... You know how it is when we record the show, there's an hour of comedy before he gets to me.
Yeah.
And then he'll ask me something and I'm just like, oh, I can't think of anything funny at all. And then he hits me with all his insults.
Yeah, I always find that when I remember chatting to Rachel about this, it's sort of this weird... Because you two really take a lot of... Do you ever have those moments where you feel like going, fuck off, Jim?
Yeah.
Like...
Yes.
Yeah.
But he always tries to get me to swear, and I love swearing, and I write about swearing all the time, but it's kind of... That's my one bit of rebellion, is I won't do it.
You won't swear?
Not if you ask me to.
But yet you're fascinated by swear words.
I am.
Because when you got your first ever dictionary,
you
did what most people do. It's when you were young. You're hunting for all the rude words.
Yes, I went to a convent, Russ. So,
did you?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So looking at rude words was about as fun as it got for a little while. But they were quite innocent ones. So I remember looking up, this is how old I am, fart, for example, and it was described as a minor explosion between the legs. That was the definition. When I looked it up.
And did you then sort of share that knowledge?
Probably.
That's where it began?
I probably did, but I definitely didn't look up any of the words that I would talk about today.
So, do you have, like, a word that you just always go to that you think, that's my favourite?
My favourite word, I have so many. I have a lot of insults. I tend to sort of bring back lots of historical insults because English does them so well. And we are quite bad at looking on the positive side of life. We do kind of linger on the sad side of life. So you could be full of gorm in the old days. You could be gormful, you could be gruntled and couth and really and all of these things, but we've lost them all and we've only hung on to unkempt and unruly and gormless and disgruntled.
Wow, that's so interesting. Because I've often thought that you can actually be gruntled.
You can be gruntled. It was P.G. Woodhouse who gave us that one, so that's a bit more recent. But you could definitely be Ruth, full of Ruth, instead of ruthless. You could be wieldy and handy with a weapon. You could... To gorm is from the Vikings, meaning to take notice. So if you were gorm-like, you had an intelligent look about you. I mean, there's just... All of these were around. But, yeah...
So gruntled means...
Happy.
Happy. It doesn't sound it, though, does it? It has sort of like... It sounds like a bit of an onomatopoeia where you like to be, like, grunted.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
You're so good at this, because that was the very first meaning centuries ago. And then P.G. Woodhouse just knocked the diss off.
Isn't there a word, like, I think it's January the 1st in yours, is it clambazzled?
Crambazzled.
Crambazzled.
That is one of my favourite ones. So crambazzled I thought was perfect for New Year's Day, when you're waking up after New Year's Eve, and crambazzled in Yorkshire dialect is prematurely aged from excess drinking. Which is perfect.
But it sounds so... It just fits, doesn't it?
I know, it really does. And other words that I love, I always talk about scurry funging at Christmas time. So scurry funging is an American word, and it means running around the house and shoving stuff into cupboards, under beds and things, because you have visitors coming around. So it's the tidying up just before guests arrive.
Scurry funging is exactly how it should...
Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh, I love
for
that.
its job.
Now, one of the things I love about you as well is that you're often referred to on Twitter as the leader of the opposition. Have you noticed that?
That's really funny. Yeah, I've been told.
Yeah, because basically what happens, Susie puts words up and sort of without sort of explicitly describing who you're talking about.
Yes.
You kind of leave it open. We've actually got some here. So word of the day is bloviation, 19th century, empty rhetoric and a good deal of blah. But that's clearly Boris Johnson.
I'm saying nothing.
OK. And in many ways, neither is he. We've got another one here. Word of the day is stiff rump, which I like, 18th century, an obstinate, disdainful individual who refuses to budge when action is needed. Who do we think? Trump, nice. Where are you from? You live in Liverpool. That was nice. Trump.
Yeah.
We've got another one here. Word of the day, again, is catchfart, which is the 17th century, a follower of the political wind, one whose actions are guided entirely by the whims and desires of their boss. I'll be honest, I have no idea who that is, but I love the word catchfart.
Yeah, it was quite recent, that one. Not the word.
It's not recent, it's from the 17th century.
Yeah. But the tweet. But what I love about these is that, yeah, I probably will have someone in mind, but people will just use it for whomever they want to.
Yes.
So, you know, they have, like, during Brexit, I might, you know, tweet an insult and then people say, oh, yes, blooming Ramonas. You know?
Yeah.
Or, likewise, you know, they would apply it to the Brexiteers. So, and I've had the Australian Prime Minister comes up quite a lot.
Yeah.
People just find the person they want it to fit, and that's the beauty of language, really. So I don't have to apply it to anyone in particular.
What's next? Are you doing a little book tour? Or,
yeah, I have. Well, I've done a few book tours. I also have a theatre tour.
Yeah.
I'm writing another book at the moment. So, yeah, and I've got a podcast that I do with Giles Brandreth. So we are going on tour for that as well. So there's quite a lot going on. But and hopefully more Cats Downs next year.
Yes.
Too.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, please get up for my guest, the fantastic Suzy Dent! Funny tonight, it's good deeds, and a tattoo artist who's using his skills to help others move on.
Hi, I'm John. I'm a tattoo artist. I cover people's self-harm scars with tattoos in my free time. I'm an artist and I've been tattooing on and off since my late teens. We had this girl came through and we were doing a mandala on her thigh, and it wasn't spoken about at the time of the consultation, but it was when she actually came along for the appointment that we noticed the scarring there, and then that's when she opened up to that she'd self-harmed. Me and my wife discussed this and we thought, how are these people feeling just now? What can we do to reach out? So we came up with a Facebook post, you know, that we could give up free time. I think within the first 24 hours we had 3 girls come forward and we got them in for a consultation.
John made me feel at ease straight away. He's soft in his approach, which is quite good, because he's not like just in there like straight away like asking you why the scars are there. I think People look at them and must think, oh, she's a bit crazy or like something like that, but it's not like that. I think John's amazing. That's the only real words I can say. I can't thank him enough, because he's not only helped me, he's helped my siblings, and he's still helping them now. If John hadn't not with this project, I would never have went into another tattoo studio. I wouldn't have ran, took my jacket off and showed them. I always wear long sleeves, like everywhere I go, jackets, jumpers. And people do question, and I do say, oh no, I'm like your son. I don't tell them because I'm afraid of what they think of me, what they would say, and how they would treat me different. It's nobody's business why, but we went through or why I done it. That's my story, and as people say, every scar tells a story, and it's mine. Having these tattoos is the next chapter, yeah.
We've got about 20 odd clients just now. I try and make time to see 2 or 3 a month. It's not my business why they're scarred. I'm not a therapist. I'm not going to discuss why they've done it, and I'm just there to help them to move on. We want to raise awareness in the project that is going to stop people from self-harming in the future. We'll keep the project going as much as we can. I can't help everyone, but I'll try and help as many people as I can.
What a fantastic human being. Thanks so much for watching the show. Good night, my friends. Good night.